Hi, this is Lisa from Question the Narrative. It's Tuesday, November 25th. Grand Rising, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. And I'm here with Honey Golden. Honey, how are you today?
Good, good. Yeah. I woke
Great.
up really like awake today, where sometimes, you're just like, oh, I gotta get
Yeah.
up. Yeah. So I think the astral plane was pretty decent last night.
That's interesting because I too got up at like 5:30,
Mhm.
5:30, and I was like, I'll slowly get up. The dog wasn't even looking to get up, and I feel very energized, you know? So
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Maybe we're kind of getting to less, we need less rest, but also, as you said, maybe not as busy in the astral plane. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, I just wanted to talk about a number of things that are happening around the world today. And let's see, how are we going to get into this? So I wanted to just say that I think our focus right now is that we have so many things that show us we're winning or we've won, that we've transitioned. And I think one of the things is it's about how we focus in our consciousness to look at those things and believe those things. So you and I have spoken recently about how what we expect to experience is what we will be experiencing or what we are experiencing. And right now, we're shifting those belief systems on that. But we're seeing so many things that are on the winning side, such as what's going on in the financial system, such as what's going on in our work life, such as what's going on pretty much in the political system that's falling apart. So let's start with the framework of that. And let's do that. And let's talk about this split of humanity, that we have a choice, that we have a choice to go with the expansion of consciousness, which is the ascension, or potentially to go into that humanity merges with technology. Now, there's something going around that says that Trump is the embodiment of expansion of consciousness, and Musk is the embodiment of the expansion of the integration of technology to that. Is that actually, is that a fair duality there, those two representations?
Um, I would say maybe for the public for a short time. That's what it's
Mm-hmm.
going to look like because Musk is the tech guy. Musk is 2.0. Musk is, I mean, at least 2.0. He could be 3.0, but,
Mm-hmm.
and he could have several actors playing Musk. But when I think about him, I think about, well, what do they need to bring out with tech that we need to say no to?
Mm-hmm.
So we've kind of said no, a lot of us, to electric cars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people will say no to chips in the body. And I think with Trump, the original Trump, is working with the military still. And he's also working with the ETs, but I don't think we
Mm-hmm.
see him very often. So his brand is also being used to bring things forward. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's icky, like they pretended that he was involved with Epstein so that they could bring that out. And so people that were wanting to awaken during this time could still latch on to something. Maybe they were a Democrat. Um, but they're both showing the good and the bad of each one of them right now. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
really feel like they're the split, I feel like they're just, even like RFK has been promoting that chip, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one of the things that they say. But once again, so let's ask that question. Is that the RFK playing the role for a expansion of consciousness, or is it someone else playing that role of RFK when they talk about the ship?
It is someone else. Now, I do feel that he's still working with the military, not nearly as much as Trump,
Mm-hmm.
but his brand, is still going strong, and it's doing a lot of the things that he originally like tried to do. Like he did fight the vaccines. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So that kind of stuff is very important. But they're none of them are the real people anymore. So they're using them for all kinds of things. And along with Candace Owens, like they're using her, they're using all of the people are playing a role. And another thing is that we don't want to be hooked into hero worship.
Yes, this is a really important point you raise. And so part of that is part of it that they want to say that is as much as the good that they do, they're still human and they have a range of actions that they've taken, and they're not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And humanity has tended to keep people in a black or a white, like either
Hmm.
you're a shadow or you're a light being.
Yeah, yeah,
You're a good or you're a bad.
yeah.
And the duality is going, and people are just going to be different shades of the rainbow, basically, you know.
Yeah, all the
Um,
different colors. But it's
yeah.
interesting. With Trump, they're really focusing it in on the role that he's played with Epstein, or the potential role that he's played. And with Musk, we're looking at this range of technology. So I want to put the Epstein stuff away because I want to talk about that over there. But on the
Okay.
Musk side in technology, we are being bombarded with a duality in technology, saying that if you really are spiritual, technology is bad, AI is bad. But if you like technology, then you're not spiritual. And they're the two things. And so they're really focusing in on that duality. Why are they pushing so hard against technology for us?
I think they want people to be really aware and intentional about technology.
Hmm.
So if you're working with AI, remembering that you're creating your experience,
Hmm. Hmm.
so it's up to you, and putting it in your body, like that'd be like sticking a cell phone under your skin. Like it's really not healthy for your body. It's a foreign object in your body.
Yeah.
So people, I mean, there's some people that still don't have common sense. Like it's still not totally there.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
maybe they're a new soul to this realm, to Earth, or maybe they're an NPC. Maybe this is part of letting go of more NPCs.
It could be. It's fascinating
Yeah.
because a lot of what we're seeing here is that they equate now artificial intelligence to loss of jobs.
Mhm.
Loss of jobs equals loss of income and freedom and the ability to survive. So that is a trigger for massive fear,
Yeah.
that whole paradigm. Now, I want to ask this question. Have we really lost that many jobs to AI?
No.
Are we going to lose all of our jobs to AI?
Eventually, I mean, we will become in the Star Trek era now,
Hmm.
unless it's something that you're passionate about, then it will be your job. And people will be so excited to get a piece of your energy, basically,
Yeah.
because
And
it's
it's going to be
your creation.
it's more of an energetic exchange. So it's not going to be the requirement to, it's that whole mindset shift. And I think what they're doing with the AI is really triggering fear, really
Yeah.
triggering. Because right now we're looking at issues with, like I could say in Europe, I'll go particularly in Europe. The fear is there's never enough energy, and energy is very scarce. And I look at how they use that as a fear mechanism right now. So we've got to get out of the fear mechanism
Yeah.
because the technology is there.
And it's really a scam, like that there's no energy. And then there's another thing, if you think about it with the AI.
Hmm.
Where did the tall grays come from? They came from a very corrupted Earth that had merged with AI. So it was like a whole nother parallel, and they couldn't even have children anymore.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they had corrupted their DNA so massively that they couldn't even procreate anymore, which is why they were after our DNA. So they're kind of showing you, what do you want? What's your
Yeah,
pathway here?
yeah,
And AI can be used in beautiful ways, or it can be used in horrible ways. I think we're past the horrible way, but
yeah,
they are exposing everything. And that would have been one of the things that they did to people
yeah.
if they had won, but we already won. So they're just
There you
showing
go.
everybody.
Exactly. It's constantly showing us once again, we've won, we've won, we've won, which is so beautiful. Okay, so we've kind of like where Musk is, he's showing, and he's also showing where things are failing, like the electric cars are failing. They're not going anywhere. Governments still have to, force you to do that. They don't have the infrastructure. We're not building it for that. It's a fascinating sort of play. And we're improving in technology. We're going to have the Concorde back. There's going to be the Concorde back. It's like testing again,
Good.
like supersonic, and maybe that's a way of sort of testing. Are we ready for that hyper speed? Count me in. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Trump then, and this whole idea of really trying to focus him on his association with Epstein. So the Epstein files are now coming out. We're starting to see many people going in and reading these files. These files evidently were Epstein emailed them to someone, Josh Rogan, or someone in this process. First of all, did Epstein email these files to someone before he was supposedly killed?
No, I get no.
Okay. All
So it
right.
was a
So
white hat thing.
okay, so, but these files are available. And it looks like now these files are a much bigger story. So the first part of the story is that the boss of Epstein, yes, it could be Mossad, but actually it's the Rothschild family. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. And all the other 13 families, like it's all of them. But
And the
yeah.
British monarchy is the British monarchy, the one who Epstein reported into.
Yeah. My higher self says absolutely.
So I think that's a yes.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, ask your higher self. Let's ask your higher self now. What should we be asking about for the Epstein files? What's the bigger story that's coming out from these?
It feels like entanglement is going to be the biggest thing. So, entanglement through all the governments. So, this is a way to expose them all.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And the blackmail machine
Right.
that
That
went
keeps coming
along
out.
with it. Yeah. So,
Mm.
this is part of the big collapse.
So, what roles do people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Josh Rogan, who are totally peeling back things? So, let's start with Miss Candace Owens, who is being sued by the Macrons for her disclosure of Bridget Macron being a male, and then also she's
Yeah.
being her life. There's credible death threats on her. What is her role in this whole process?
She's a like the rebel, the shake it up person. And she's also a 2.0, and she's a white hat playing that role. And honestly,
Mhm.
I think all of them are at this
Mm.
point. So those people are protected and they've been pulled out of the public eye.
Right. So
Yeah.
these death threats that are coming out are really to be shown that that's exactly what does happen. So you can't disclose. And what's very interesting is that Candace Owens, first of all, she's quite articulate and she uses data in a very pointed way. I wouldn't say there's anger. There's just data in such a very pointed and very specific way. It's like, I'm going to get to it. And she does. She's peeling it back, layers and layers of things, like nothing goes unnoticed. And for her, the big point that she's making right now is that I want that lawsuit to go on. I don't want to settle with the Macrons. I want to go to court. And everybody else is like a Tucker Carlson, and like everybody wants to settle. They don't. She's like, I want to go to court. Is that the way we're going to be able to disclose things by people saying, I'm going to take you on?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how she's going to expose that most of the governments, the wives have been masculine. Not only
Mm.
that, like he's married to his own father. So how gross does it have to become, right?
Yeah.
What are they
These,
really doing? What do these people do? Like, wow.
yeah, yeah. No wonder she was able to hit him on the off where she got off the plane one time, like basically
Mhm.
smacking him around. Fascinating, fascinating. And she's just raising, she observes the patterns, these patterns that continue to come out. It's like, why are all of these politicians gay? Why are they gay? Why are they married to men? Why are they hiding it? Why are we being lied to? Why? All of
Yeah.
that's going to be very interesting. Well, we also have now at this point where we're really talking not just about the horrific sexual issues that are with the Epstein files. We're talking about how they were hunting humans.
Yeah. She will
And
expose the cabal. Yeah.
this is very hard. I find, I mean, I know this goes on. We talk about it. I know enough about that. That is very, very challenging. That's going to be so hard for people to handle. I know it's hard for me to
Yeah.
handle that.
It will be hard. I don't feel like they'll focus on it for very long because they
Hmm.
can't have the consciousness drop too much.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because it is over. So I did a show with Anya the other day, and I
Hmm.
said, just get together with people and change the weather in England because it's so dreary, right?
Mm.
And she
Hmm.
thought that was a great idea. So she's going to gather a group and they're going to work on changing the weather.
I
And
love
I
that.
said, there's no hold on the weather anymore because the reptilians are actually gone.
Oh, wow.
And they wanted it to be cold and to feel like they were underground
Mm.
because that
Hmm.
was their biggest spot where they hung out above ground.
Mm. Well, this is also about the chemtrails exposure, about the
Hmm.
toxins in the chemtrails, and the actual poisoning that we've had through
Yeah,
the air, which is incredible. Well, all of this happening right now is fascinating with the Epstein. Another part of the Epstein files is about Israel. And we always said Israel is for last. But now we're starting to see that maybe with the Rothschilds and Netanyahu, there's a duality within Israel. That Israel, like when the Rothschilds first gained approval from Great Britain, which interestingly, how Great Britain had the authority to do the Balfour Agreement and
hmm,
create Israel to give land that they did not own. Thanks God that, the British royalty owns all the empire. Um, the Rothschilds were the ones who got it. But now we have Netanyahu playing a game with against the Rothschilds. Is that the duality? Did they mean to create a duality in Israel to create even more confusion? Or did they do it for something else?
I get yes, but Netanyahu will be exposed for who he is too. And he feels like he's one of them,
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's like to expose everything, sometimes you have to fight, you know? Like
Mm,
sometimes an argument has to break open what's really going on. Like somebody could be upset in a marriage about they don't pay attention to me, they don't come home fast enough, I made dinner and they don't say thank you, or
mm.
whatever. But then the fight will actually be about something completely different.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be like, why didn't you put the toilet seat down? Right? And
Exactly.
then there's a fight.
Yeah.
But those things, it's just for exposure. To me,
Yeah.
all of every single thing that's happening right now publicly is orchestrated. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just absolutely fascinating right now, everything that's coming out. So the Epstein files are actually peeling out. How much more? I mean, is the disclosure is going to get more and more? It's going to get more and more mainstream. Do you see this taking weeks, months? How do you see this
I get
unfolding?
weeks. So
Yeah,
I feel like they want to get it over with,
yeah.
and we do have several months where there's lots of wild, like energy coming. So December, January, and February are all fairly wild energetically. It's what it looks like. And I'm glad to know that because we used to think, oh, it's going to get better next month. It's going to calm down. Well, no.
But maybe better is not calming down. That's
Yeah,
good.
we
I
want
think
it
that
to
is
ramp up
better.
and just get done. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So we're
we're
hoping that
kind of on that trajectory right now. And as soon as we get to the top of the hump right here and everything explodes, then we'll probably have a short lull. And then I think we will all start to be busy,
yeah. Yeah.
because we're going to start doing projects and creating, and the government will be reorganizing because eventually we won't even really have a government. It's just going to be,
Yeah.
yeah, how do
That's
we
the exciting
interact?
part that we're getting
Yeah,
to. It's very, very exciting. I think there is this slow peeling back of like, why do I need this government? Why do I need this government? And I'm absolutely in awe of how much we've grown and how so many people have grown. This is so exciting. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very, very good. Very interesting. But by the way, I'm just listening outside my window. I'm close enough to a base, the base in southern Italy here,
Mm.
Puglia. And I see there was one very low lying jet, and then there were two following it. Anything I should know about that, honey?
They are going off the coast. It feels like what they would say was an exercise, but they're actually looking for something like a
Yeah,
UFO. Yeah,
okay, because it's, yeah, definitely not normal. This
yeah.
the way that they've done. Very interesting and lower level. Thank you. I just had to know
Uh-huh.
because it happens every once in a while on that. But this is very exciting. Once again, this is another way to show we're winning. All the
Yeah,
disclosure and how humanity is saying, yes, I see it now. I see it now. We are winning. Yay.
yeah.
We've won, but we're showing it now. We're going to doing it. So speaking of that, because I think, a lot of things, I think people have a very hard time with Trump in this role
Mhm.
of being the one to stir it up. It's disturbing because he's not all good and he's not all bad, but he's a character and it's hard. And I think many people have let it go, but many people are still holding on. And I think it's a really important point we do. But going into another thing, because I think there's so much information that we get through everything we touch. You and I've talked a lot before about how everything that the way the trajectory of the information is a pattern upon a pattern. And I'm thinking now about the entertainment books, the stories that used to become the movies that have become now miniseries because they realize you can't translate a book into a 2 to 3 hour movie. You need that miniseries to do. So I wanted to talk about some of the authors that I'm curious about that are really disclosing things and what roles they played. So the first one that comes to me is someone that I was reading, and he died very young, but he had an enormous body of work, and he was very technical, yet the stories were amazing. This is Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton did the Jurassic Park series. He did many other books. He did his last one was all about patterns of birds and how they were used in technology. It was fascinating. It was like hive mind technology. But this was, he died quite some time ago, maybe 30 years ago now. He was a
Wow.
Harvard, was trained as a Harvard MD. He, and then he did a book that was called Travels that talked about his like around the world, but he was very clear in his knowledge back then about how there was no climate change. And he was giving data way before the climate narrative came out that said, here's data of climate and CO2 traces in the air and the oxygen in our environment. And here's how it shifted over time and the patterns. We are actually in a much better period of time right now. So, is Michael Crichton, first of all, was he disclosing information?
Yeah. He feels like he was a white hat. He came in with a tremendous amount of knowledge. Did he know he was a white hat? Did he know what he was doing? I get kind of. So he
Mm-hmm.
had some awareness that he was bucking the system. Um, I don't get that he was taken out,
Did he
but
die?
he,
First of all, did he really pass away?
I get no. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he really, like, his soul had a very big purpose, and he's
Mm-hmm.
been absorbed, like, into the good guys at this point. Maybe as an advisor or something. That's what it feels
Mm-hmm.
like. Yeah.
So, what was the story, the Jurassic Park story, trying to tell us?
Well, for one thing, that it didn't really happen that way because there are dinosaurs still. And there's also dragons now that are coming back into body. And there weren't as many dinosaurs as they acted like there were.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a total baloney.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the dinosaurs were dragons, but there were some, especially the plant-eating ones. And then there was the one that had the big spikes on its back, and it was very round, almost like a rhinoceros. Um, Brontosaurus, maybe it was called.
Brontosaurus, yeah. We saw that in the Flintstones quite a bit. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Brontosaurus.
So that one existed, and the one that was really big that had the long neck and ate trees, that one existed. Now,
Mm-hmm.
they could have had hair
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no one really,
too.
because
Yeah.
science can't relate to what that was. But the
Yeah.
story in Jurassic Park, let's go into this a little bit more, was about how scientists uncovered some DNA of the dinosaurs and were
Mhm.
able to resurrect a species. What was that telling us?
That was about cloning, so that we could know that you don't need, like, the technology's already there. It never was lost. It's been there the whole time. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very, very, very interesting on that. So to me, that whole Jurassic Park, that story, they continue to build off of it. And it seems like it's a real something that we were supposed to hear on that. And then he just shared so many different things about technology. He started off as a doctor and then he said, I don't want to practice that. Was that also because he knew that medicine wasn't what he thought it was?
Felt it was corrupt. Yeah. I think when he wrote the first book, what I'm getting, when he wrote his first book, that's when he was contacted. So he began to have a friendship with somebody that eventually helped him disappear. And he
Mm.
became, just working for humanity. But he was a
Wow.
brilliant channeler. He just channeled in all that information. So he's a very big soul.
Yeah, because his books were just extraordinary. They were everything that he wrote was futuristic and thought-provoking in ways that we hadn't done before. So, I
Yeah.
mean, the Jurassic Park story lives on and on and on for decades, and I think it's still going to continue to do that. It's very intriguing.
Hmm.
Okay, that's one. Another one, Dan Brown. So Dan Brown is known for writing these books that are everything in there is all truthful. The organizations exist, the facts are correct, but he's talking about symbology. His main character is Robert Landon, who is a symbologist, a Harvard professor
Hmm.
who knows about ancient symbology, and this was his big book was the Da Vinci Code, which became a movie, obviously, which couldn't encompass all the things out of the book. And that really ruffled the feathers of the Vatican because it was talking about disclosing that things aren't quite exactly as the Vatican and our religion has portrayed it. So Dan Brown's latest book is all about consciousness, the study of consciousness and how this is impacting humanity. So tell me about Dan Brown. Is he channeling or is he just creating fiction, nonfiction?
Um, he was kind of I feel like he actually was in the know of some things.
Mm.
So he had more awareness. He had probably some dabbling in the dark at the beginning. Um, he didn't like it, so he started exposing some of it. And then it was kind of, to me, it was like there was a fight between the CIA and the Vatican about whether or not how much could be released in the movies. Would they let this guy continue? I feel like there was some kind of agreement with him so he wouldn't go too far because he knew he was
Mm.
gonna like get um so yeah, that was kind of big. And I feel like he was kind of from a big family.
Mm.
Um Kind of hidden though what family he was from. That's what it feels like. And then also the new version is not him. So this latest book is not actually coming from him. It's coming from a 2.0, a white hat. So he was
Mm.
pulled out, I feel like,
Mm.
because he was too much in the gray area.
Mm. So what was he trying to do with the original Da Vinci book, the Da Vinci Code?
He wanted to expose more, like he was like testing to see how far he could go. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he really agreed with the dark, distorted stuff, but he also had touched it too often. Like maybe he was born into it, but it feels like he knew too much. So there was his situation was felt very tenuous.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So his brand is being used in this latest book about consciousness. So what is this book supposed to be communicating to humanity?
This is to help people shift. I mean, it's time now. And the white hats are doing everything, like I said, in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another way to reach more people. And he's
Mm,
very
yeah.
popular.
Yeah, very, very popular. And it seems just too coincidental. And the
Mhm.
way when you say that it's a 2.0, it's very interesting. The way the book is structured, it's a little bit more mechanical than I
Oh,
think, or I would say it reads like a script.
oh.
Absolutely does. So are they going to make this into a miniseries or some kind of film?
I feel like it'll be a movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, could very easily be a movie. Maybe in the
Hmm.
next year or two.
Yeah, very interesting. Very,
Mhm.
very interesting. Well, it just seemed a little too coincidental that it was
Interesting.
all about consciousness. Okay,
Mhm.
well, I'm in the middle of it, guys. I'll let you know. Or you can see
Okay.
what it is because it's at least entertaining, and then it's like it's good. Last author to take a look at for this discussion, J.K. Rowling, who did the Harry Potter books. Was she channeling or was she doing something for humanity? What was she trying to do?
Um, the first one, the original one, she was channeling, and she was really innocent. I think she was poor. She
Hmm.
had a lot of, like, she could really see things, and she probably was involved in a school like that in another lifetime. So
Okay.
she kind of feels like she could have been Hermione or whatever that girl's name was in
Hermione.
another life, and she was just pulling it all in.
Hmm.
Um, and because it was so much disclosure, I think they actually might have gotten rid of her and replaced her. So I don't really think that she survived too long.
Very interesting. And what was the disclosure that was coming out of those books, the Harry Potter books?
How magical we are, you know. And also, they helped a lot of people wake up, believe that they could be awake. And they were also exposing the NPC, if you think about it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you had to go off in secret to be able to be your magical self. And if you exposed it to the public, like they weren't going to like you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that was your family. Just think about, 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah. So interesting. So all this creation that we do, these things are really helping us, these stories. I think they're fascinating, really fascinating
They
on
are.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that little thing. All right, one last thing. I actually don't really think we need to go into the financial system right now because we're shifting. Things are shifting. All I think we should do is keep on saying we see it and we're winning and we're winning. And you're just seeing all these different manipulations in the
Yeah.
marketplace as ISO 20222 has been implemented this past weekend. We're starting to see lots of things. So we'll keep discussing it, but I'm not sure there's something new right now.
Yeah.
One last thing. We've just heard that Ukraine has accepted the terms of the US proposed peace treaty. Are we entering into peace with Ukraine and Russia?
I get yes. And it's because they're about ready to move on the whole Israel and um also England. Like they're ready to get done with it. So Epstein, they need that wrapped up before they really expose everything with Epstein. Because that's like
Mm-hmm.
a whole nother layer.
Mm-hmm.
And so they need to wrap up the Ukraine stuff and also get Russia back into good standing with the world, like expose
Mm-hmm.
Russia for actually doing good because they've
Mm-hmm.
been doing a lot of good. And that needs to be brought to the surface as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good news. That's really good. I think we've forgotten in history that first of all, it wasn't Russia that we were against. We were against Stalin and the communism and the fact that Stalin starved 25 million of his own people.
Yeah.
And communism. But if it wasn't for Russia, all of Europe would have not been able to fight against supposedly the Nazis. And America and Russia and the alliance of Europe were all together on the same side. We forget this part, I think, of history.
Mhm.
It's very complicated, right?
It's very complicated, and Russia is the one who's been kind of living out the new world first. Like,
Mm,
if you think about the Ringing Cedars and that book and those, that whole group of books, so much change has happened, not only with the magic of Russia and within the forest, but also they're doing well.
mhm,
And
mhm.
they don't have a central bank over there.
That's really the
So,
thing.
yeah,
Don't have a bank. That's what really got them into trouble. They refused the central bank, and that's why they hate Putin.
yeah,
Anybody who do that. The one last thing I'll just make a note of is that on the Telegram channel, keep on giving more and more information on different groups that are coming out and describing how the central banking model works, meaning the creation of money. And it's really, really important to understand that because when you understand that, you let go of the fear because the money doesn't come from anything. It's a
yeah,
fictitious type of thing.
it's
So,
magic.
exactly. It's money magic. And
Yeah,
that's another way we've won. We've been winning. It's a disclosure. So the more you realize that, the more you focus on that, the more you know that and share that, that's really the winning part of it. So,
that's
all right,
awesome.
Miss Me, I think we've done it. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss tonight or add into tonight's episode?
I would just say have a great holiday, everybody, no matter how you're practicing it. I hope that you enjoy it. And I really feel so good, honestly, about everything that's happening and start to feel secure in your own body. Work on that a little bit, and we're going to help shift this going faster and faster.
I know it. That's wonderful. What a great message. Thank you, honey. Well, this is Lisa from Question the Narrative, having forgotten that it is Thanksgiving week because I'm in Europe, wishing everybody a wonderful Thanksgiving. And thank you, honey, for this time. Good night, everybody. Ciao.
You guys.